I think it's safe to say that we've all had those days where we have gotten out of bed and said, I just cannot do this. Or am I by myself? And as a woman of faith and a disabled woman who loves to show up for everyone, sometimes I hit a wall. And so today I hit a wall, but it sparked this thought for this conversation. And I wanted to come on here and share with you guys how I push through with grace and resilience on those low days, those no motivational days, those not today days. And so go grab your drink, go grab a snack, and let's get into this conversation. What is up, you guys? Welcome back to Talking It Up with Tam. I am your girl, Tam, and I am super excited for today's conversation because guess what? It almost did not happen. But before we jump into anything, y'all know what y'all need to do for me. What? Y'all need to do all the things. I'm going to need you to hit like, share, comment on something, send this to somebody, do all of those things regardless of whatever platform you're on because it helps your girl out with the algorithm, okay? Thank you in advance. All right, you guys. So I'm going to need to jump into a little bit of a story time before we go in and I give you guys some tips because I need you guys to understand where this conversation topic even came from. And believe it or not, it just sparked like 2 hours ago when I was struggling to even jump on camera and get this thing recorded. Today is technically unclosed day after Easter, no daycare kids here. I don't have anything on the calendar for church or for Miss Wheelchair America, any of that. I need to head down to the DMV because I have to get my real ID. You know that in order to fly after May, you will not be able to do so if you don't have a specific ID with a seal and some other jazzy stuff that they are putting on these IDs to make sure you are who you are and all of those things. So I have my folder together. Yes, I am that type of person. I thought I had every document. My daughter needed to get hers done. We're going to go down to the DMV. We got this. We're going to be able to do this. We get in there. We get through the line. We get up to the counter and the lady's going through all of the documents and I have my birth certificate. She has her birth certificate. Social security numbers are there. All of those things. And then they tell me that the marriage certificate that I have is not the appropriate certificate. I've had the certificate for over 20 years. This is what they sent me after my husband and I were married. So that's what I have, and that's what I thought was good. And we get down there, and no, that's not good. And because it's not good, there's no more steps we can take until I get this document. Even though my name has been my name for over 20 years. So I'm like, why do I have to prove to you guys that this is my name when it's my name? And my license that I have that I am putting up on the countertop says this name, but it doesn't matter. So, of course, I'm in a mood. And so then when we get to my daughter, I'm like, okay, well, she can still go through, get her stuff done. We need another proof of address. So I had submitted a tax document with our social security number on it, and on there, our address is on there. And my child lives at home with us. Even though our kids are over 18, they all still stay with us. They don't be getting no mail, y'all. But anyway, so now it's like she can't get her ID either. And so I'm even more in my feelings. And then it's like, well, what the freak are we supposed to bring back down here? Or is she supposed to bring when she doesn't get mail? And they were like, oh, junk mail is fine. I don't know when that has happened because to my knowledge, you have always had to have like a utility or some type of valid piece of mail. But this lady was like, yeah, you can bring a piece of junk mail, a delivery like box or package that has your name with the address. And I'm like, okay, because had I known that, we would have just grabbed the GQ magazine that somehow has come in her name that is on the countertop. It has her name with our address on it. But anyway, so we leave. Can't get those done today. And so then we struggled to get me in the car. Luckily, there was a good Samaritan. There was a lady who was just like, I just really want to help. And I don't like to be touched by strangers, but I think we could have done it, but it would have been way more of a struggle. And so I thank God for that lady. So thank you to that lady. And we did get me back in the car. And so I get online to order the certificate, get all through all the things that I needed to do. And it kicked back and said that there was a decline for my debit card. So I'm like, okay, I most likely put this in wrong. I got an email and said, in order to complete this purchase, you have to then call them. So I call them. The lady answers the phone, and she's, I give her my order number or whatever. She's like, oh yeah. She's like, I'm just gonna go ahead and transfer you to the automated service, and you can re-put in your stuff for your debit card and go from there, and it'll bounce me back. You'll bounce back to me once you do that. So of course I'm more irritated because I'm like, if I could have done this with automated service, why couldn't I have just redid this on the internet? But anyway, because I'm already in my feelings, y'all. Okay, so the nice lady transferred me. I put in my numbers. It clears because there's no reason for it not to clear other than me, human error, putting in the number wrong. Gets me back to the lady. She's like, okay, you're good to go. Anyway, I get home and now I'm battling with myself. Am I even going to shoot this podcast? Because you've already said you have to do this. Really, really got to shoot this podcast because if not, you will not have anything to drop on Thursday and you'll miss an episode. And then I'm like, well, it's okay. Nobody's listening to me anyway. And it's like, that's not the point. You have to be consistent. You have to put the content out there for the people to then find you and listen and grow your audience. And so I'm having this conversation inside of myself. I am arguing with myself. Anybody else do that? It was just a struggle. And so I had to talk to myself. I had to bring myself down. And there was a few other things. And then this podcast episode was just like, okay, you've got to shoot this and then share. So guess what, you guys? I shot the podcast and thought that I was good, only to see that it was not recorded. It stopped recording 9 minutes in. So this is not one, but this is two. So the devil is really, really busy and trying it with me, but I am yet on the line with you guys. And so I want to now go in and share some tips and tricks and things that I do to help get myself all the way together and do the things that I need to do. All right, so in this segment, I want to talk about disability and faith, okay? We need to have a real talk about that because a lot of people think, like, how could you even have faith in Christ when you are disabled? And let me tell you, it's like, how could I not have faith in Christ and be disabled? That's just me. I know everybody else has their own belief systems and all of that stuff, and they do all the things that works for them, but this is what works for me, and this is what I truly believe in my heart. And so for me, in order for me to carry through and go through life, I have to have a strong grip with the Lord. Me and him got to be hand in hand. And honestly, it's just one of those days that I feel like I have to grab on even tighter. So that brings me to those I don't feel like it days. And I want to share with you guys real life lived experience. Like literally this just helped me out to even be on here to shoot this podcast with you guys. And so I want to give you guys those truths or those tips, whatever you want to call it, to help you out. Okay? So number one is to really have an honest conversation with the Lord. Honestly talk to him. Talk to him as like I'm talking to you and just let him know, like, okay, God, this is what I'm going to need you the most. This is what I'm going to need you to show me your strength. In the book of Corinthians, it talks about when Paul sought God 3 times for a thorn in his flesh, meaning he had something going on in his body that was just not working for him. And God let him know that his grace was sufficient. And so these are the moments where I'm like, okay, God, this is where I really need to see that sufficient grace, because it then goes on to say that I am strong, in my weakness, then I am strong. So basically when I am physically weak, then that's when that strength of God will come through and show me like who he really is. Like, I got you, because there's truly times where I just don't really feel like I can do what I need to do, whether it be physically, mentally, emotionally, and God will then step up and show me and help me push through a really hard time. And then I look back and be like, man, God, you were really, really, really wonderful to show up for me at that moment and show me that your grace is truly sufficient. And so then that brings me to number 2. We're calling this truths, tips, whatever you want to call it on those I don't really feel like it days. And that is to speak over yourself, to encourage yourself, positivity, shutting out those negative thoughts or combating those negative thoughts. And so when, the enemy, which I feel like is who brings those negative thoughts or whatever you think and your thought process may be when you're having those battles in your mind of, oh, you're lazy, or you can't do anything, or you're stuck in this body, or whatever the case is. And even if you're not disabled, you have these days. When I was fully able-bodied, I had these days, but it was that mental battle that went on that I was strong enough to stand up to and say, but you know what? I am capable. I am worthy. I can do this. I'm smart enough. I should be here. I should be in these conversations. Or whatever you have to tell yourself for whatever is going wrong. And even if it's not anything going wrong, sometimes you just have those intrusive thoughts, and imposter syndrome can be so real, where you just feel like you don't even belong in the spaces and places that God opened the doors for you for, or the spaces and places that you really worked really hard to get into. And then that's a whole nother conversation. But speaking to yourself and just reminding yourself who God is and who He created you to be, that really helped me out. And even in this moment, it just reminds me, that, I need to show up for, if not everybody else, at least for myself. But then that takes me into the third tip, and that is to just understand that sometimes it is small things that count. Sometimes it's just about getting the little things done. I did set out and have goals, things that I wanted to accomplish today. One being to get my ID. Number two was to come on here and shoot this podcast. I didn't get my ID, but I did come over here to shoot the podcast. So I mean, just things that you can think of. Everything doesn't have to be done in a day. And so sometimes it's okay to push things off and just think about it like, you know what? I did this and that, and I'm okay with that. Then that will bring me to tip number 4, and that will be to let yourself rest without guilt. Okay, so even if you have moments where you do have things that you wanted to get done, and maybe you didn't even get the little things done, maybe all you were able to do was to get out of bed and wash your face and brush your teeth and then get back in bed because maybe you're fatigued, or maybe you're just not mentally there, or maybe you just have a day off and you just want to have a day off, and the laundry is going to be the laundry, and the dishes are going to be the dishes, and sending emails are going to be sending emails, replying to emails. It's going to be there tomorrow or later on. But you have to have moments where you're going to allow yourself to rest without guilt. Even Jesus had to rest, okay? And you'll need to allow yourself to rest without guilt. Even God, when He created the heavens and earth, had a day of rest. And so if you have a day, a moment of rest, or a few days of rest, you have to do what you have to do, especially when you're dealing with a body that is a disabled body. For me, it's not as easy for me to just say, like, I'm going to take this Red Bull, and I'm going to drink this coffee, and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to pop this pill, or I'm going to, it's not like that. And once you really start understanding who you are and what you know that you're capable of doing, and that you're not a lazy person, that you are a hard worker, that you are a go-getter, and that you can get things done, and you do get things done, but just not today, then you will be able to rest without guilt. And the last thing for me to share with you guys on today would be for you to lean into other people. So maybe you're like, I don't have anyone to talk to. Well, boom, you got me. You got your girl Tam. You can hop in my DM, send me a message, send me an email. I am so cool with that. But you also have the podcast to listen to. Honestly, sometimes getting your mind off of those things that have gone wrong or that are irritating you can really help push you through that season or that challenge, because now you're not fixated on thinking about that thing. You're playing Monopoly Go, you are reading your Bible, you are watching your show, you are talking to your friends. Sometimes the distraction is really great when it comes to you constantly looping things in your mind of what all went wrong and why it's all going to continue to go wrong, because the enemy will really wish to keep you in a devastated place. But I really want you to understand that sometimes you have to, push past that and say, okay, you know what? I'm going to set this over here and I'm going to focus on this. And even if it's not meaningful to anybody else, as long as it's making you happy for the moment and it's not harmful to you or harming anyone else, then go for it. But lean into your community, lean into your family, and really utilize the people that are around you. Not to dump on them and be a pity party to them, but just to know that you have somebody there that you can kind of lean into is a great resource to help on those not today days. All right, you guys, again, if you're in a season where you really feel like this is just not going the way that I planned, or I just feel so down, hop into my DMs. I'll be more than happy to speak with you, to talk with you, share advice with you, pray with you if you want prayer, whatever the case may be. But also know that these conversations will continue to happen because they are real and they are necessary. So, what am I going to need you to do? I'm going to need you to do all of the things. I'm going to need you to share, like, comment, hit your post notifications so you know every other week we drop a new episode, and you won't want to miss because I have some amazing guests coming up for the month of May. I'm super excited for these guests. And if you don't turn on those post notifications and you don't subscribe and all of those things, then you're going to miss out, okay? And we don't want you to do that. But I do want to thank you for hanging out with me for this little bit of time. And I hope what I shared with you, regardless if you're able-bodied or disabled, regardless if you're a believer or you're not a believer, I hope something I said today will and can help you out. But until next time, see you later.